Okay, so we've been bringing you the scenes outside the International Convention Centre where the World Economic Forum meetings on Africa are currently underway. Let's see what's happening inside the official business of WEF getting underway today. And we cross to our anchor Nzinga Qunta in Cape Town. Nzinga, what's happening?
And where do I look?
At me.
Your first name, sorry, again?
Nzinga.
Nzinga.
A very good afternoon. You are coming to you from the World Economic Forum, where we've been having discussions throughout the course of the day with decision makers who have gathered here, among the around 1,000 delegates from all over the world, coming here to discuss the fourth industrial revolution and how it can shape shared futures and growth. I'm joined by Dr. Amina Abou-Zeid. She's the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. We were speaking a little bit earlier on about the importance for infrastructure when it comes to growth. An example of that, which is often touted, is Ethiopia, which experienced growth of around 8% each year based on how much they invested in infrastructure.
First of all, Zinga, let me say that I'm thrilled to join you and to be in Cape Town, to return to Cape Town again. And since we're talking about infrastructure, and I am African, Egyptian African, so one of our main roads that we are working on is Cape to Cairo. So here I am in Cape Town, maybe to usher this Cape to Cairo highway. Now, yes, as you rightly said, I mean, infrastructure are great contributors to growth in general, well-being of people and growth in general. I mean, the saying goes that infrastructure is everything that is around you. You don't see probably until it fails. And sadly, it fails a lot on the continent. We're talking about infrastructure on the continent that is inadequate, very often lacking. Huge amounts of money are needed for our infrastructure. We're talking between 100 to 130 billion dollars that are needed for Africa's infrastructure. What we can avail is only a small amount out of that. And you understand, in our countries, with all the competing demands that are needed for socio-economic development of our countries, this is a huge challenge. However, our continent is doing a great job in terms of putting together not only national infrastructure, but also regional and transcontinental infrastructure. And that's really what the African Union is working on. Remember, our aim and mission is the continent integration. And infrastructure are the physical expression of this integration. Therefore, we have devised large programs with specific projects either in transport, road, railways, air transport, maritime, but also ICT and energy, with the aim and purpose of integrating the continent and creating this much needed infrastructure, especially that the African Union has launched the African Free Trade Area, and it's been effective since last July.
How will infrastructure and that investment into it expedite trade, especially in light of that agreement?
Imagine, I mean, just to give you an example, most of our infrastructure or trade is meant for people to, for money, for goods and services to be exported and imported. Most of what we have in Africa and the infrastructure that is in Africa is mainly to go outside the continent. So to export to our former, colonizers on the continent. But when you look at infrastructure in between African countries, you will find hardly any, and if you find they are not really in adequate shape. 90% of intra-African trade, when they exist, I mean, goes through road. Only 24% of these roads are paved. So we're talking major challenges for free trade area. However, we launched the African Union, we launched the Single African Air Transport Market to create one air transport market across the continent, and we so far have 30 countries that have joined, with the aim of increasing both the number of flights and also reduce the price. because air transport is one of the fastest ways of transporting and exporting goods, but also people. The roads, as I mentioned, and the railways, we have these large programs for highways across the continent, and happy to see that from Eastern to Southern Africa, there are already 3 highways that are in place, and they are smart highways. So not only that they are there, but also they're using the latest technology in terms of transport by using the digital aspects in managing those highways, and we are adding 2 more very soon, and so on and so forth. Really, the continent, despite huge challenges, there are great efforts that are being done by our countries that should be recognized and applauded.
Dr. Amina Abou-Zeid, thanks so much for your time on SABCU, the AU Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, joining us there to talk about the importance of infrastructure when it comes to growing an economy, and also what's taking place on the African continent at the moment. With that, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you very much. Nzinga Qunta, live from the WEF Africa meetings underway in Cape Town.